This high degree of power sharing has embedded political friction into the government from the top down, preventing political solutions and slowing the legislative process. So, whilst this political structure has undoubtedly helped sustain peace, it has created an ineffective government that's unable to foster entrepreneurship. This has reduced investment, causing spare capacity in the labour market, where the unemployment rate is 10.7%. This has dropped significantly since 2015, where the rate was 27.7%. Taking these statistics at face value, you might think the declining unemployment rate would be a positive sign, but the reality for Bosnia and Herzegovina is that this has been driven by a shrinking labour force as working age adults leave the country to find employment elsewhere. The scale of the issue is demonstrated by the fact that Bosnia and Herzegovina has one of the largest emigrant to population ratios in the world, causing a reliance on remittances for economic growth rather than investment into its own economy. Perhaps even more concerningly, emigration is leading to population decline, with the total population having already decreased by 23% since 2000. So, given such a steep decline of fundamental economic factors, is there any hope for the future? In order to reverse, or at the very least slow, the exodus of productive workers, Bosnia and Herzegovina needs to improve its economic offer to its citizens by increasing the quality and quantity of jobs available. Ask most macroeconomists and they will say that investment is the key to achieving this. Fortunately for the nation, there looks to be capacity for ramping this up. Currently, the capital adequacy ratio of the banking sector, which controls the level of risk and the ability to protect depositors, sits at 19.5%. This is well above the regulatory minimum of 12%, which means the domestic banking sector could increase long-term funding to key growth areas in the economy such as energy, metal manufacturing and IT. To do this, however, three things need to happen. First, the discouragingly high administrative burdens of operating a business need to be reduced to incentivise entrepreneurship. Some efforts have already been taken to address this through the digitisation of tax filing and customs declarations for trade, but more widespread reforms are needed to significantly reduce administration and encourage entrepreneurship. Secondly, corruption in the political system and the banking sector needs to be addressed in order for capital to be more effectively deployed in the economy. Thirdly, the government must ensure that state-owned enterprises and public sector spending are not crowding out private investment. This final point is particularly important since the state is a huge economic power, with fiscal revenues making up 44% of GDP, and state-owned enterprises having a presence larger than they do in any other country in the Western Balkans. Clearly, Bosnia and Herzegovina's transition to a market economy only went so far, with the state still having significant ownership stakes in over 550 enterprises. This is also likely to be an important point of future discussions on advancing its membership prospects with the European Union. This represents a historic opportunity for the nation that would increase confidence and enable more participation in value-added supply chains. So far, the nation has made good progress towards EU integration since becoming a candidate in 2022, especially having introduced new anti-corruption laws. In light of this progress, the European Commission has recommended that advanced negotiations begin with Bosnia and Herzegovina to plan and agree on a pathway to its full membership. While this is promising, it's not likely that the nation will become a member for many years to come. It took Croatia 8 years from this stage to become a member, whilst Turkey has been in negotiations for almost 20 years. Point being, there's no guarantee of becoming a member once the nation gets to this stage, and with the range of political and economic challenges that Bosnia and Herzegovina possesses, the wait could be one to test the limits of political patience. What's more is that EU membership alone will not fix the country's issues. Just ask Greece, Spain and Portugal. Bosnia and Herzegovina has immense potential, but it has to do more than just strive for compromise to get there. Okay, now it's time to put Bosnia and Herzegovina on the Economics Explained national leaderboard. In terms of size, Bosnia and Herzegovina has a GDP of $27 billion, which means most national economies are larger. It ranks amongst Trinidad and Tobago and Zimbabwe, giving it a 2 out of 10. That is spread across a population of 3.2 million people, which means the GDP per capita is $8,426, which puts it below the global average and a long way away from the EU average, giving the economy a 4 out of 10. Stability and confidence is a mixed picture. While the central bank has maintained the currency peg with the euro and the public debt levels are low, the declining population and ineffective government are weakening the confidence in the economy. On top of this, ethnic divisions are beginning to stir up again as political leaders from the Serb territory of the nation increasingly challenge the legitimacy of the central government and call for their own independence. In light of this, it gets a 5 out of 10. Growth is steady, averaging 3% since 2000, but it has all but stagnated since the 2008 financial crisis, so it gets a 5 out of 10. And finally, industry. Bosnia and Herzegovina has a solid manufacturing base, especially in metal and electricity production. However, the economy remains a net importer, and there is room to further develop its industry and increase productivity and exports. It gets a 4 out of 10. Overall, this gives Bosnia and Herzegovina an average score of 4 out of 10, putting it down here on the leaderboard. If you like this video, then you'll also like the video we did on the economy of Turkey, which covers similar themes of how different political and economic systems affect production, inequality, and growth. Thanks for watching, mate. Bye.